your consent is given in the event your image is broadcast. This includes any filming by television cameras if attendance is approved by the Chief Executive Officer or Mayor. Also, item 4, I'd like to acknowledge the country. Is acknowledgement of country. The Edward River Council acknowledges and embraces the traditional owners of the lands within the Edward River Council area, the Wamba Wurruk'arika peoples, and pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. The Edward River Council also recognises the diversity of different cultures within our community and their contribution. I'd like to call for any apologies or applications for leave of absence by councillors. I think we're all in attendance.
We are. Councillor Forms is online today.
Online, yes. So acknowledge the councillors online. Councillor Forms.
Excuse me, Mr Mayor. We are having some video technical issues, so maybe just acknowledge that.
Right.
Those are trying to watch from home.
Yeah, so do apologise. We are having some online difficulties, but hopefully it's been recorded and can be watched at a later date if there is issues at hand. There seem to be a freeze. Does that need eating so much? Okay. And council debates you will leave of absence pending, haven't you?
Yeah. So we said that.
Okay, acknowledge that. Thank you. Disclosure of interests. Right. This counts. Duly noted. Give that to the CEO. No further conflicts of interest or disclosures? No? Okay. All right, there's no mayoral minute. There's no urgent items of businesses. The item 10 is the reports to council, which is, confirmation of minutes. I do apologise. Previous minutes of December 17, 2024. The recommendation states that council receive and note the draft minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on Tuesday 17th of 24, December 24. Someone will move those minutes, please. Councillor Bird, second to Councillor Bates. Any discussion around those?
No.
No, all pretty clear. Okay, I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. And on to reports of council, which is the 11.1 draft community strategic plan. No? Where am I? Point 1. Never a good start, isn't it? Sorry, mistake. Reports of committee draft minutes of the Canargo Hall Committee. The recommendation states that council receives the minutes of the Canargo Hall Committee meeting held on 27th of November 2024 and endorses the recommendations of the committee contained within specifically. A, the committee requests council to remove the sheep yards and level and remediate the site in a timely manner. This was agreed to be done by a request of quotation. It will be advertised and will close 3 weeks after the beginning of the advertised campaign. Council then will advise the committee once the quote has been accepted. If no quotation is received, then council will undertake the work. Okay, there is a back recommendation. Can I get a mover for that? Councillor Druitt, seconder. Councillor Crosley, any discussion around those? All good. Okay, I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour? Against? It's carried. I'll get this right now. Okay. Item 11 is reports to council. 11.1 is draft community strategic plan. The recommendation states that council acknowledge the community feedback. 2, approve the draft responses to community submissions and enable the acting director of corporate service to provide formal responses to each submission. And 3, endorse the updated community strategic plan as attached to this report. I need a mover and a seconder.
Can I move it with an amendment?
You can.
So I just acknowledge that, as it's stated, acknowledge the community feedback, approve the drafted responses to the community submissions that you received,
Yeah.
and also endorse an update to the community strategic plan to include a few fixing of errors and add a couple more measures. So, for example, we want to change the measure at 5.5 to, say, 6 consultations per year, and at B, insert a new measure at 5.1, and that measure would be move the population growth targets to include the population growth targets, have the baseline, which is in the document already, of 8,430, but perhaps include, while we haven't quite decided whether we're going for the growth component, but that's in the growth strategy, but we could say 9,050 by 2028 if we were just going for the milder version, or 9,650 if we're going for the inspirational target. And perhaps we could also at 1.7 add the measure about the number of households. So we've got a baseline there of 3,331 total households in 2021, and we could set ourselves a target of trying to get that to 3,900 by 2028, just so that would incorporate some of the information that we've got in the growth strategy that we haven't quite adopted yet, but it's an integral part of the community strategic plan.
Okay. Just to be clear then, we might just refresh that so we fully understand what the amendment is. So the amendment, basically 1 and 2 are the same as in the original recommendation, but 3 basically adds the changing to the measures of 5.5, correct baseline wording, say 6 consultations per year. B, insert new measure under 5.1 as follows: measure towards 2035 population growth targets. Baseline is 8,430 in 23. Target support growth to 9,050 in 28. Delivery growth 9,650 by 28. That's the aspirational. Source ABS, insert new measure under the 1.7 as follows: number of households is the measure. Baseline 3,331 by 2021. The target would be 3,900 by 28. Source is the ABS. So we've got an amendment, a mover there. I need a second for that amendment. Councillor Burge. Now discussion around that.
I'll make some discussion that it was great to read all the submissions and the quality of them, and I hope that that while there was a lot of detail there, just that they take note that we have taken it on board. It may not necessarily be seen in the community strategic plan, because that's a big picture type stuff, but when it comes to delivery plan and further discussions, we'll take a lot of that feedback on board. So thank you.
Any further discussion with that? Councillor Drew?
Yeah, through you, Neil, I'd just like to thank our interim corporate services director for all the effort and time and work going into that. Thank you, Jacinda, for that. I'd also like to think that the community really became engaged in this document, and I concur with Leanne that it's fantastic, and I think they'll really take some ownership of this document. I know it's broad, and it's meant to be broad, but it's I think we've worked pretty hard at making this for the next 4 years. So thanks again to the community.
Yeah, no, I think we just reiterate that the staff have done a tremendous amount of work, and I want to thank them immensely. This is the community document, it's their document. Now it's up to us to put our delivery plan together and do the hard work around trying to measure what we can do to bring these aspirational kind of desires that the community put forward and make them into a reality. So that's our work for the next 4 years. So we've got a bit to do in the next few months. So looking forward to that. Any further discussion before I put the recommendation? Okay, I'll put the recommendation forward. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, 11.2 is the council meeting schedule for 2025. The recommendation states that council adopt the proposed 2025 schedule of ordinary council meetings, which schedules meetings for the third Tuesday of each month between March and December of 25 to commence at 10 a.m. in the Deniliquin Council chambers. And basically quarter 1 is 18th of March, quarter 2 is 15th of April, 20th of May and 17th of June, quarter 3 is 15th July, 19th of August, 16th September, and the last quarter of the year is 21 October, 18th November, and finally 16th of December. Can I have a mover for that recommendation? Councillor. Councillor Bates is the seconder. Any discussion around that?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, while I'm disappointed that we're not going to be holding meetings in our villages, I do understand that it is a big ask economically, and just that I think we as a council body look forward to improving our current support and presence in our villages over the rest of our term.
I think that's well and truly heard the council. Phil, I think that's one thing we'll endeavour to do is get out there and have some meet and greets and some time with our villages, so we can get all the councils around there, talk to them, and get their thoughts and feedback, and so we can not lose touch with our real communities. That's 100% for sure. It's a commitment for me. We'll make that happen. Okay, all right. I'll put that recommendation forward. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, item 11.3 is the council appointment to committees. The recommendation states that council appoint the councils to committees as listed in attachment 1. The term of appointment of the committees will be for the term of the council or a further resolution with changes to the appointments. So can I get a mover for that?
It's just a small amendment to the Edward River Village. Just obviously, as discussed, we said the whole of council. We can just get that amended on that
Leads
list.
to a whole council for sure. Can I get a second for that? Councillor Cosley. Okay, any further discussion around those appointments? Councillor George.
Yeah, just through you, Mayor Hall, just to reiterate, yeah, we're looking forward to getting our hands dirty and getting involved with the community. That's what we're here to do, listen to our community and our great community and the villages. So, yeah, I think all of us are looking forward to being involved. Thank you.
Cosley.
Oh, well, I was going to do what Craig said. I think, yeah, certainly we're wanting to get out there and engage with the community, and there's no better way through existing community committees, including all of our villages, obviously. So I'm excited to get out there and meet people.
Great, thank you. Okay, I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, and 11.4 is naming of the North Deniliquin Rest Area. The recommendation states that council adopt the name North Deniliquin Reserve, or Crown Reserve number 46452, currently known as North Deniliquin Tennis Club Reserve, for the purpose of submitting it to the Geographically Names Board for New South Wales approval. 2 is adopt the name Flo Allen Park for the area of the former North Deniliquin tennis courts as defined in attachment 1 of this report, for the purpose of submitting to the Geographically Names Board of New South Wales for approval. And 3, undertakes further consultation regarding naming of other areas within the reserve. I'll get a mover and a second for that recommendation. Councillor Birch, second Councillor George. Discussion at all?
Yeah, just I think respectfully acknowledge the efforts of Flo Allen. I know it was a long time ago, but before a lot of our time. But yeah, her contribution to tennis in the North Tennis Club area was fantastic, and we're certainly, I know it's always hard to pick someone out. I understand that there is a lot of other people involved, of course, typical of any great community, but I'm thrilled to be able to acknowledge Flow Allen's contribution to the North Tennis Club.
Councillor Bates.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Hall. I think it's a credit to council and the staff and the contractors that did the refurbishment of the tennis court. It looks great. I know we've had a flood over it, but it serves the purposes. I think it's very good. And the Flow Allen thing, I think that's on. Whether we can come up with another name with the rest of it, we're not sure. So we'll consult and find out.
Absolutely, yeah. Any further discussion with that?
For you. I guess, is there an opportunity, should we proceed with this recommendation, is there an opportunity to provide some information to the community around who Flow Allen was, so that when people arrive, there's a bit of information around the importance of that area?
I think that's the context that we apply at some type there, I think.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, and thanks Deputy Mayor Crosley. Yeah, the intent of implementing is to A, put in a facility name sign in line with Council's adopted sign manual, and B, to provide interpretive signage. So very much in the same vein as down at McLean's Beach and those areas, that sort of signage has come across very well, the feedback from the community, so we'll be doing that as part of the implementation.
Thanks.
Can I just ask a question and maybe a little bit of guidance on it? Do we actually, what's everyone's thought on actually including 3 within this and not allowing it to happen sort of organically with the community coming to us in any future, with any future ideas, rather than actually having it there for one of us, not one of us, but one of the staff to go out and start that process? Do we need point number 3?
I thought we were just going back out to the public like we did for Flow Allen. Isn't that what point number 3 means?
Well, it does, yes, and do we need to actually do that just yet, or do we let things not sell the alcohol off, but let the Flow Allen name embed within that tennis court area and then worry about it a little further down the track, rather than forcing our hand to actually go out and start the whole process all over again?
I think there's some intent around trying to basically, from the toilets onwards, basically, is that would be the Flow Allen Reserve, which is the old tennis courts, but where the actual car and trucks move into that area would be something that an opportunity for maybe the trucking industry to have some input into and that sort of thing. So that's the intent of going back out to the public, because I think they've been fairly strong in terms of wanting to see something around that. So I don't see it as any disrespect to Flow Allen part of it. I think it's proactive that we try and nut this out now and move on and put it to bed.
Oh, that's, yeah, I just wanted to make sure everyone's happy with us forcing our hand to go out rather than happening by
Yeah, no, I think
feedback.
that we're fairly comfortable with that. That was the intention of the workshop, that we do that and get it out there.
I think the transport community's made it clear as well that, you know, there are elements of the community that do want this addressed and named, and I think it's best that we get onto it and also make sure that their contributions to this rest area over the last few decades are recognised, which they deserve that recognised.
Yep, I think so. I think we're pretty comfortable with that. Any further discussion before we put the recommendation? All right, I'll put that recommendation forward. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, 11.5 is the local roads and community infrastructure phase 4. Recommendation states that council will resolve to allocate the remaining funding of $363,170 from phase 4 of the local roads and community infrastructure program to the following projects. 1, upgrades the Glenelg Basketball Stadium to the amount of $100,000. 2, refurbish Sexton's Hut at the Glenelg Cemetery for the amount of $40,000. Refurbish the VRA building in Charlotte Street to the amount of $73,170. And 4, electrical and infrastructure upgrades to Dillon Sale Yards to support electronic ID for sheep to the amount of $150,000. Need a mover and a second for that recommendation. Councillor George moved,
Yeah, I'll move
seconded by Councillor Sheffield. Discussion on this, Councillor Burge?
Through you, Mayor Hall, could I just ask perhaps Mr Dalzell about the electronic ID scanner and reader? I thought that we had allocated other funds to that. Is that an extra on what we originally anticipated?
Through you, Mr Mayor and Councillor Burge. Yeah, so council received a rebate from the state government in terms of installation of the readers and the specific equipment needed. Investigations and design through the project has noted that wider electrical upgrades and just to the races and general layout, which didn't come under the rebate scheme, but required to allow the installation and operation. Those works have also brought in safety improvements to the area, so around electricity and that, so they're very happy that we've been able to, as part of that, really improve the safety of the area along with other works and that. So yes, it was an amount above what was originally sort of highlighted for it in terms of the rebate, but what's been able to be achieved through that has been a great benefit to the facility.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All comfortable with that? Okay, I'll put that recommendation forward. All those in favour? Against? Okay. Okay, 11.6.
Yeah, thanks, Craig.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, 11.6 is the Audit Risk Improvement Committee, locally based independent member. The recommendation states that Council 1 notes the Council did not receive any applications for the position of locally based independent member of the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee, known as ARIC. Agree to either A, re-advertise the position for an additional 4 weeks and review the status of the position after that period, or amend the ARIC terms of reference to remove the requirement of a locally based independent member. 3, notes the ARIC chair advice that Council could be satisfied that Councillor Mullen, as a member of the ARIC, provides the necessary local experience and knowledge that locally based independent member would provide. 4, notes the risk that while the locally based independent member position remains vacant and a formal part of the ARIC terms of reference, the ARIC will not be able to make a quorum in the event that one of the 3 current independent members is sick or resigns. Councillor.
You missed the Mayor. Would I be able to make that amendment to point number 2? And that reads that Council agrees to amend the ARIC terms of reference to remove the requirement for a 4th locally based independent member, and everything else remains the same.
Okay, so we'll remove part A of that, and then B becomes the recommendation. I've had an amendment there for Councillor Sampson. Can I get a second for that amendment? Councillor Druitt. Okay, everybody's clear on the amendment. Part B will become the recommendation and part A will be removed. Any further discussion around that? Okay, I'll put that recommendation forward. All those in favour? Against? It's carried. Okay, 11.7 is the Local Government New South Wales and the Australian Local Government Association key conferences for 2025. The recommendation states that Council approves the attendance of the Mayor and Chief Executive at the A, Local Government New South Wales Rural and Regional Summit on Thursday, May 8th, 2025 in the New South Wales State Library. B, the Australian Local Government Association 2025 National General Assembly, 24th to the 27th of June, at the National Convention Centre in Canberra. And C, Local Government New South Wales Annual Conference 23rd to 25th of November 2025 in Penrith. 2, considers the attendance of other councillors in line with the council expense and facilities policy and councillor training. Mover and a seconder, Councillor Burge, seconder. Councillor Druitt, discussion. Councillor Burge.
Through you, Mayor Hall. I think it's very important that item 2, we consider the attendance of extra councillors. It's a great way for them to be introduced to those meetings and to learn and to socially network. So I think that's an excellent idea, and I'd also like to see us perhaps put up some motions, discuss it at council level beforehand, and we have until the 31st of March to put in a motion. So if we could allocate some time to that, that would be fabulous. Thank you.
Any further discussion around this?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just from a historic perspective, attending these is a eye-opening experience and very worthwhile for new and even more experienced. Obviously, there's plenty of experienced people there, but yeah, it was massively eye-opening from a new council perspective, attending 2 of these last time.
Yeah. No, well, there are well, one was the Australian conference course and the other one's in New South Wales, but in terms of networking with other like-minded people and councillors, I think it's very beneficial to new and existing councillors, but also you do have the opportunity to meet some politicians and see some really good keynote speakers that can be inspirational in terms of bringing new ideas to the council and getting something of value for the community. They are a good, powerful resource. Do you want to make a comment at all?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, whether we want to have discussion around number of attendees to any of the conferences. Otherwise, we can bring it to the next workshop.
We might workshop that and have a discussion who'd be interested in maybe attending different ones, and then we can work out what's appropriate, and we'll go from there. Okay, well, I'll put that recommendation forward. All those in favour? Against? It's carried. Thank you. Just going to move the quarterly budget review statements from a report for noting up to an actual report to council. So I'll make that 11.8 is the quarterly budget review. So if we can just move that from 12.7 up to 11.8 on the end. The recommendation states that council one review and discuss the 31st of December 24th quarterly budget review for the 2024-25 budget. Notes the overall impacts of proposed adjustments, a decrease of $90,000 since the September 2024 quarterly review on council's budgeting operating result of 24-25 being a surplus of $6,825,537, and after removing capital grants, a deficit of $238,817. Councillor Muir.
I'd like to move an amendment to that.
Yep.
To also remove the budgeted figure that's in there of $114,000 for town hall event to make this council chambers. So just to remove that, which would then change the figure somewhat, because we have to approve it. And my motion is that we don't approve it.
Yeah, well, I think we'll take that out for future discussion and come back with a more realistic measure. So people clear with that amendment, but we're taking the 114,000, so that'll have a slight variation to that 238,000. Maybe and a further report to come back to council maybe with a more refined scope and budget. can I get a second to that amendment? Councillor Sanson. Discussion around that quarterly budget review. Councillor.
I'm just wondering why the community hadn't been made aware of the increase of costs with our performance improvement advisor to 90,000 when it seems we've been aware of this since just after the OLG appointed them.
Yeah, I can't really understand.
I just don't understand why that wouldn't have been communicated down when it's been forecast to be 60 to 100, but the message to the community has been it's a $60,000 appointment. So I'm just not sure where that's been lost.
I'd have to take advice from the Director of Corporate Services about that.
I believe, and I'd have to do some further work, that was communicated from the Office of Local Government just after the appointment, but I'm happy to, obviously, above my level, I'll take it on notice and provide a formal response.
Councillor Burge.
Through you, Mayor Hall, I don't know that it was. That was the first I've seen of it going to 90,000, so I was going to ask that question as well. Perhaps if we could have a comeback on the...
Seek some clarification around
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
We'll get that. Do you want to make a comment at all?
I can make a comment. Basically, the $60,000 were professional fees,
Yep.
and the balance is travelling costs.
Yep.
So that was in the price that was given to the Office of Local Government, and the Office of Local Government communicated that. Whilst the audit said 60, the total, the 60 was the fee. The balance is travel costs.
Travel costs. Right, thank you.
Yeah, and accommodation.
Yeah. Linda, did you want to make a comment?
I was just supporting those questions because I did seek clarification numerous times to the previous interim CEO around that, and was told 60,000 as well. So I think the advisors now answered that for us, and it puts a little bit of clarity out there for the community on what that was. But it was communicated to us councillors as well as a community that it was 60,000.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it's 60,000 professional fees and the extra 30 is travel, accommodation and so on. Yeah. Okay. As much as it is a lot of money, I think it's been money that we have benefited greatly. I'm not sure if we'd be sitting around the table if we didn't have the assistance of our advisor. So I appreciate it. Okay, I'll put that, any further discussions before I put that recommendation? All right, I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour of the amendment? It's against, it's carried. Thank you. Okay, reports for noting is basically 12.1. Is the performance improvement audit compliance report that council received. Note compliance report 3 being the final report in accordance with the performance improvement order issued on the Edward River Council. So I'll seek a mover for that recommendation. Okay. Councillor Crossley, seconder. Councillor Burge. Discussion. Would I be prudent to ask the advisor to make comment if you would like?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, this is the third report, third compliance report that's been undertaken by the council. The council's prepared this report that identifies and succinctly responds to each of the issues, seeking firstly the reasons and secondly the methods for improvement. And I just commend the council for the work that's been undertaken. My comments relate to specifically about the meeting procedures, which I think was the trigger for the performance improvement order, and the fact to actually build a really strong council meeting process and understand your obligations under the Code of Meeting Practice and also under the Code of Conduct and how those meetings are conducted. The second element was the need to induct the councillors and to build a level of understanding around that, and that's been actually achieved. The council has undertaken 85 hours to date and will be potentially 100 hours per councillor. for the induction program, which is a significant commitment of time and effort to actually get the outcomes. And all of those workshops that have been conducted, nearly with a full house of councillors. So, it's a credit to the council and the commitment to the community to make that happen. And the third element is the issue of the behaviour and the need to continue to build strong level, the quality of an organisation is dictated by the quality of the conversations. So having open and honest conversations, but respectful and be receptive to other people's perspectives and how they deal with things. And if you were to do that and work as a council, work as a team to make things happen, you can actually get a lot done. So from that perspective, there's been initially was a different set of councillors, but different issues and personal issues that occurred. Now we need to just work at continuing the ongoing improvements and in terms of communication within the organisation, and that's with staff and councillors and also council of the council. But the department are very keen to ensure that the Edward River Council does continue on that vein. I'm sure they have an expectation that they don't want to see continuing codes of conduct that they used to receive, and that matters are dealt with. Firstly, you don't need codes of conduct because you actually deal with each other respectfully. So that is the ultimate goal that the council should pursue.
Thank you. Councillor Bates.
I'd like to commend Mark on the time and effort that he's put in. His door has always been open, particularly for us new councillors, and it's been very, very helpful. So thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Yeah, similar, I guess, for new councillors, the silver lining has been the performance improvement order in that we've had an interim CEO, and then obviously Mark having you as, I guess, a mentor and a guide and an advisor, I think has certainly been to the benefit of all councillors, but particularly new councillors. The induction program, very thorough. Huge thank you to you and Jacinta too. It's been a huge amount of work. And thank you to all the councillors, I guess, for doing your best to get there. Certainly from my perspective, I put my hand up to be a councillor because I want to contribute back to the community, and I'd like to think that moving forward we can all work together as a team, and there are no code of conducts, and we don't, that this performance improvement order is lifted and we never have to see one again, because it's, it can be exhausting having to deal with those sorts of things. So I think here's to a good team. Thank you for your time here, I'm sure you'll be available by phone should it need you. So thank you to you, Mark.
Councillor Drill.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Hall. I concur with Councillor Crossley and Councillor Bates in thanking Mark personally for guiding us and helping us grow, develop our skills. Look, we are a new council, and that is quite true. And it's disappointing that it's cost a lot of money, but look, I think with your guidance through, with our new CEO, with guidance there, with personal guidance for a lot of councillors, thank you for bringing in your experience to Northwood, and look, I'm sure we'll be chatting from time to time in the future, and I just thanks for your honest and fair, very fair reporting. It's good, and we look forward to being a very cohesive council in the future, and I'm sure we will be. Thanks.
Okay. Probably just from my perspective as the mayor, it's probably not the ideal situation to take the reins of a council that has a performance review order over the top of them. But on the same token, to have someone of Mark's calibre as an advisor from the local government installed on us, I think it's probably been a breath of fresh air. We've had an interim CEO. He's helped facilitate the role of our new CEO, as in Jack which the process went very, very well. I couldn't have probably asked for a more easier process to go through, and basically that was facilitated by Mark, and we have to remember that we didn't have to go to a consultant. We basically used his services in that fee. So probably the 30,000 we're probably talking about is probably cheap when we talk about what it would have cost us for a consultant to do the same thing. And I think we had 55 applicants for the role. We shortlisted to hire. We basically got a very enthusiastic, young, dynamic GM that's locally based, that ticks all the boxes that we want. So I don't think we can get really much of a better result in terms of that. In terms of the nucleus of the new council, that's up to us. And I think in the guidance we've had, we've got a great future ahead. There's going to be a few little bumps, there's no worries about that, but we'll sort that out because myself and Kelly are very focused on making a good team that leads the community and has the desired results that sets us up for the next 4 years, and I'm sure we'll get some great outcomes with Jack in the chair as the CEO. So thank you again, Mark, for your time and effort, and I think it's been that the community is probably grateful for you, the calibre of you as a person to do that role. So thanks again. Thank you, Richard Smith.
No, look, I really appreciate the words there, Mr. Mayor, and I've said it a million times how excited I am in this role and looking forward to delivering with this council great outcomes for the community.
Great, thank you. Okay, no further discussion. I'm going to put that recommendation. That's recommendation. All those in favour? Against? It's carried. Thank you. Okay, 12.2 is delivery program progress report. The recommendation the council receive and note the 6 monthly delivery program progress report for the period of July to December 24. Move that, please. Councillor Bates, the seconder. Samson, discussion around that. Councillor Burge.
Through you, Mayor Hall, just 2 queries. 1.4.4.1, Yorkeys Pit, the work going on there, it's behind schedule. Can we have an explanation on that? And the other one was 4.1.2.1, which was the master plan for the pool that was adopted, and it's a bit behind expectations or schedule as well. If we could have an update, please.
Comment. Through Mr. Mayor, and thanks Councillor Burge. I'll take those on notice and get back to councillors with some more detail on those two items.
Thank you. No, any further discussion around that? Okay, I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Okay. 12.3 is the funded projects update. Recommendation that council notes the funded projects report for January 25. Move it and second for that. Move Councillor Chatfield, second. Councillor George, just discussion around that report. Well, pretty clear. Okay, I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, 12.4 is the free waste disposal weekends. Recommendation states that council notes the following free waste disposal weekends at the Deniliquin landfill for the remainder of 2025. First one on the 8th and 9th of March 2025, and 14th and 15th of June 25, 13th and 14th of September 25, and 6th and 7th of December 2025. Seek a recommendation on that. Move Councillor Crossley, seconder. Councillor Schofield. Any discussion? Yeah.
Yes, I think it's great that we've got those dates, despite there's been obviously a budget consequence in that it would cost about 15,000 in lost revenue. I know a lot of the community, particularly probably the rural community, do rely on those dates. So I'm wondering if an additional amendment could be that we advertise those dates now for the rest of the year.
Absolutely. I think they go on our websites.
Operational.
Yeah.
There's an operational implementation.
And then on that, we'll just
We'll make that
pick
happen.
it up as operational.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion around those? It's good that you've been, we've got those dates now, we'll get that out to the public so they can plan. I'll move that, I'll put that forward, all those in favour? Against, it's carried, thank you. The investment report, 12.5, the council has received and note the investment report of 2020, December 2024. Move that report, Councillor Frank Schofield and Councillor Newland, seconder, is Councillor Newland. Discussion. Pretty comfortable with the recommendation, all those in favour? Against, carried, thank you. Twelve point six is the investment report. The council received and note the investment report of January 2025. Mover, Councillor Newland, seconder, Councillor Crayfield. Discussion. All clear. Put that recommendation, all those in favour, against, carried, thank you. Of course, we've moved the quarterly budget review, so we'll take 12.7 out. Go to 12.8 is the development services activity report. That recommendation states that council received and note the development service report of 2024 and January 2025. Mover. Councillor Schofield, seconder.
Yep.
Councillor Crosley, discussion. Councillor Burge.
Through you, Mayor Hall, may I ask a question? Lot 7, I think it is. Just an explanation on the name of this street, 25P Parade. Is that a typo or is that an actual street in Deniliquin?
Through you, Mr Mayor, and thanks Councillor Burge. As previous developments have come up to council, P Street is within the Mullumbah estate area.
Thank you.
It is a named street within the council area.
P-E-E.
I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
Not there.
No, thank you for the clarification.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussions around that? Councillor Burge?
On a more serious note, the value and number of applications, if you look at December 23, 4 million, and then we're looking at 24, 2 million. That's quite a difference. Just pointing that out. I guess overall it averages out, but that was quite.
That can have a.
Yeah.
That could be one big development too that was in.
Yeah, thank you.
You could also
Look at
November's.
Yeah, no, another way around.
Change around. Yeah, I think if you average it out.
Thank you.
Bottom line there, we've had an increase.
On the bottom line.
Yeah.
The year for all services.
Which is great.
Yeah, well, I'd say probably one big development would have placed better. Overall, I think it's healthy. Okay, any further discussion around that item? I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, lucky last. The resolutions of council is at 10th of February 2025. Recommendation states that council note the information in the resolutions of council is at 10th of February 2025. Mover and a second, please. Councillor Druitt, second Councillor Sampson. Discussion. Councillor Burge.
Through you, Mayor Hall. Couple of questions here on page 285, the CWA were obviously unsuccessful in the funding requested there. And apparently we're going to get a further report. Can we find out when that will be? The second one I had, same page, 20230919 12.7, unrecoverable rates. It says there that a letter from OLG to be provided to the February meeting, which is today, are we going to see that? And the other one was, the 286, which was the town hall, whatever it's called, subdivision, whatever, that annex here, 2022 1018 12.5. We have some movement in this area, which we've been waiting for a long time, and it looks like, if I could just have clarification, that there could be a resolution to this matter forthcoming.
Back to you.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, thank you, Councillor Bird, pick up a couple of them. So yeah, in terms of the CWA building and a further report coming to council, we will get a report within the March cycle, so in the next council sessions. In terms of the town hall, as noted there, we actually have a scheduled meeting with Crown Lands tomorrow afternoon. So I know our staff have been working with Crown Lands staff to ensure it keeps moving forward, and we'll have the opportunity tomorrow to talk to one of their regional managers around where that's going and the next steps in that. And after that meeting, I'll be able to inform council with more detail.
Right, thank you, Councillor
And
Burge.
the unrecoverable rates, the letter from OLD to be provided to the February meeting.
Through you, Mr Mayor. So that will be to the March meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion with that item 12.9? Okay, I'll put that recommendation. All those in favour? Against? Carried. As we have no confidential items, and there's no questions with notice, I'll close the meeting at 12:51. Thank you very much for your attendance. Great. Thank you.
That's it.
4:50.
Just wait for the meeting to finish.